All right, guys. So we're here with Miss Yumeki, and she is the owner of. Don't let me mess it up.
Restoring
Restoring.
pearls.
Do it. Say it again. Say it again.
Reviving, restoring pearls, and divine pearls of royalty.
There we go. So I don't want to mess up the name, so I'm gonna let her say it every time. But she is the recipient of the Organization of the Year award at our Master of the Runway Fashion Show Mixer, which is dedicated to domestic violence. And we do this show just about every year, and every year is dedicated to domestic violence. It's something close to my heart, something I feel like is slept on, is not talked about enough. It happens way more than it should, and it's something that just like rape. They say what happened in the house, stay in the house. So that's how serious it is, but how much it is not talked about. So we like to shed the spotlight on domestic violence as much as we can and step in as much as we can. So I'm gonna introduce y'all to Miss Yumeki and let her tell y'all about herself.
Hi guys. I'm originally from Welch, Louisiana. I'm 58 with 3 kids and 9 grandkids. And I have 2 domestic violence nonprofit organizations, and we rescue families if they call and need help. What they do is they'll reach out to me, and then I'll reach out to Commander Moon, and he'll get all intel that's needed, and they'll go rescue them, and then we meet at another point where we either bring them to a safe house, to a hotel room. Even if they need to go back home, we will bring them back home. They call the shadow team. The shadow team picked up one lady in Mississippi and brought her all the way back to Chicago. And we also, right now, we have opened up another part of the organization where we do ministry. So we go out to the ladies' prisons and we hold seminars on breaking the chains of domestic violence. We also contribute to Cancer Awareness Month in October, where we have partnered up with different organizations, and we're about to send some wigs over to St. Louis, Missouri, to the hospital for ladies that's going through radiation or have been through radiation. And we have an anti-bullying campaign that kids that go through domestic violence with the parents, they survive domestic
Y'all
violence.
doing a lot. Y'all doing a lot.
Yes, ma'am, we're doing
Honestly,
a lot.
that's one of the reasons why we chose y'all, because I love organizations that's old school, just boots on the ground. You're not really worrying about, uh, updating the Instagram or sharing everything on a Facebook. You guys are really, private but out there. When you talk about domestic violence in Houston, your name is going to be mentioned for sure. But you don't do a lot of boasting and bragging, and I did this and we did that. But your name speaks for itself when we talk about domestic violence. So that was one of the reasons why we reached out to you guys.
Wow, thanks.
Bring you guys in and really be a help in any way that we can. So um, when we first got here, we talked about how we could help y'all with y'all mission or what y'all trying to accomplish for the fourth quarter. And you talked about wanting to collect underwear and socks and things of that nature. So let's talk about that for a minute, because that's going to be really important. We want to get that campaign started, early, so we can get as many people involved and help. But we want them to understand what they're helping with, what they're donating their time or money or resources or whatever they decide to do. We want them to understand why they're doing it, how it's going to affect, and who it's going to affect. So let's talk about that.
Actually, what it's called a fresh start gift box.
Okay.
And a lot of prisons, when you think of prisons, you think of men. So they have everything in the prison for men.
Gotcha.
You never think about a lady. So some of these ladies, the day that they are being released from prison, they have no clothes, no nothing, just basically nothing. So we want to be able to provide new clothes, new hygiene, everything that a person needs to have to put on when they step out those prison doors. That way, leave all that behind, and you starting off fresh. You starting off fresh.
So in the fresh start box, let me just assume what will be in it, and then you can correct me. So maybe, like you said, underwear, socks, t-shirts or camis, uh, um, maybe, some graphic tees or something, a hoodie because it's starting to get cold,
Yes.
maybe a beanie, some, stuff like that, deodorant, soap, underwear, just like you said, a fresh start box. And maybe once we, depending on the response we get, we can get deeper and, do a couple of outfits per box or something like that. So something like
Exactly.
that.
Yes, and exactly. And I would want every lady to be able to reach out that person that gave them that box, so if that person can put like a name and a phone number, because I want them to be in contact with that person.
And see, this is why I want people to understand, because they need to understand what they're committing to. This is a commitment to these ladies to show them that there is another side. There, you can, get past this. Because the problem with domestic violence is they don't think that they can do better, in a sense. And correct me if I'm wrong.
No, and you're also correct, because I know when I went through domestic violence, I didn't care about anything. I went from being abused to being a cocaine dealer,
Right.
to being my own best customer. I didn't care about anybody.
Right.
I didn't care about hurting anybody. I wanted to do me. But in the process of that, I was actually hurting myself, because if you speak out to a family member or friend, first thing they're gonna say is, why are you still there? Why haven't you left yet? I wouldn't take that. You can't tell me you wouldn't take that when you're not in the situation that I'm in.
Right.
You can't tell me you wouldn't take that when you're in the same situation I'm in, but you're hiding yours better.
Right. Well, I mean, in my experience, and I'm not boots on the ground when it comes to domestic violence. That's not my ministry, because
I want to thank you for saying that. I truly want to thank you for saying that, because you have to fully be committed, and you have to have really been through it in order to know what it feels like.
Right.
Like, just say, hypothetical. I've never been through domestic violence, but I'm going to help you. What I'm going to help you do? I don't know what you need. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know resources you need. And there's so many people, which I'm grateful they want to help. But if you haven't been through it, then you don't know what it's like.
Right. And, just from helping on the outside, you can see that. Like, you can see, like, okay, I'll never be able to relate or understand or, always have the words, because you got to be careful what you say. It's a lot of trigger words.
Exactly.
It's a lot of it's a lot. So it's a fine line in that world. And my mom, that's her ministry. So that's why I'm been able to see it up close and understand it. It's just, you got to move a little different, because, they're going to call you at 3:00 in the morning. They're going to ask you to come get them and then go back. And you're going to be mad. You're not going to understand it if you've never been through it. It's going to make you upset. You're not going to say the right thing. And then you lost somebody. And so.
Exactly, because on the average, a lady goes back 7 times. She has to be ready to leave. And when she's ready to leave, you'll know she's ready to leave.
Right.
And it's if you're doing it, you're really doing it from the heart, hoping you're passionate about it. You'll know.
Right.
You would definitely know.
In those times where they not ready, you still got to be passionate.
I'm still gonna go get them. Yes.
Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of commitment to that. And so I knew early on it wasn't my ministry, but I knew I wanted to shine the spotlight on it anytime that I could, but in a sensitive way, because it's only so much you can shine a light in these situations. Like, let's talk about this, because I think this is a great time to talk about this, because we're talking about shining light. And people don't understand, like, this is not something, like, we were scouting for different organizations, and something that came up was, well, they don't have a lot of pictures about what they do or their events and stuff. And I'm like, they're domestic violence survivors.
You're not supposed to do that.
Victimizer can find them and come get them again. Like, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for their mission. We're trying to see if when we mention their name, do it come up in that circle? What do people say about them? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're looking for. And I realized in that moment that this is a situation where most people who don't, walk in that lane won't understand what they're looking for, or even how to attack, or become a partner, or help, because we live in a social media world where everything needs to be pictured in video, and in domestic violence you can't do that.
Well, you know what? Hope if when you work with domestic violence, and if you have to picture everything, then you're doing it for your glory. You're not doing it to help the ladies.
Right.
You're doing it to boost your ego, and that's not what we're about. That's why when you say this, I'm like, okay, somebody gonna be with me, because I like to boots on the ground. And people have to understand, like you just mentioned, that attacker could have a friend following you.
Right.
Okay, then they also have to understand, with us having a rescue team, I'm in danger as well.
Right.
My face is being shown, and I'm gonna make a statement, and I truly mean it. I'd rather be in danger knowing I saved that lady than that lady being in danger knowing I couldn't do anything.
Right, for sure.
Yeah,
it's a sensitive situation, and that's why I want to. It's important to highlight it at this point, because people need to understand, even though it's sensitive, it needs to be talked about, it needs to be highlighted, it needs to be brought to the forefront, because it's happening more than you know. And not just domestic violence, because they all tie into each other. Domestic violence and then human trafficking, all these things tie into each other. And because we don't talk about them enough, because we just save it for that month, domestic violence month, human trafficking month. It's like these things can't just be excluded to 1 month and then forgotten about. Like, this needs to be talked about 12 months of
300. I say that
365 days a year. Like,
domestic violence
it has
is
to be
something
that we continue the conversation on, like the same way we continue the conversation on some of the broader and other hot topics that we're going to call them in today's society. So I really wanted to highlight that part of, even though we shine in the light, we still have to be very careful.
Very careful.
The information we say, it can't always be a detailed information.
Exactly.
We can say, like, this is what I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry. Like the safe houses.
Yeah, okay. Now the safe houses are in place.
Yes.
I would never tell you the location.
Yes, ma'am.
No, none of that. But they're there. I know they're there. Commander Amoon and the team knows they're there.
Right.
And we have them all over. We cover 6 states: Connecticut, North Carolina, South Carolina, Memphis, Atlanta, Texas. Couple of more, I'm sorry, it's not there. But we have them. We have them in each state, and we don't just rescue a lady and bring them here to Texas. If we need to get them to another state, that's what we're gonna do.
Right.
And
just because those are the only states she named, those are the states they're in. I promise you, it's going to be a safe house in probably every state in the United States at this point, because there's a multitude of organizations who does what Miss Yumeki does. But just like Miss Yumeki, they're boots on the ground. So they're not going to be the star-studded.
Exactly.
They're not going to be in every newspaper headline. No. They're not going to be on the TMZs and the things of that nature, because they have to move in silence. They have to move on one accord. They got to move militant. So I promise you, there's going, like, I'm from Michigan. I know we have safe houses in Michigan. I know they have safe houses in Ohio, Chicago, New York. Like, there's safe houses everywhere. So that's the main reason why I wanted to touch on safe houses and make people understand that, no, we can't give out real information, but also you need to know that they're there, and trust the people that have been put in place, and know what to do, how to get the people there, and what information to give and not give to, be able to move them along through the system. It's something like the Underground
Railroad. And exactly, those states I just mentioned are the states that the newbies have troops over there that can assist us.
Right.
Because there's certain states that they will go into, and people have to understand, when the commander Amoon and his shadow team go in there, they truly have to understand it's by any means necessary.
What's crazy is I've never actually met Commander Moon.
Oh my God.
Somebody speaks of him, all I think is militant, moving on one accord, understanding.
That's what he does.
Effort.
Yes.
Like he doesn't do it by himself. And this is without even meeting this man. You know what I'm saying? But that's the report that we get back when his name is mentioned or when people talk about him. So I can only imagine, you know, how many people you guys have intercepted and saved and, you know, made a difference in their life. And that's what people don't understand is you can't save hundreds and thousands of people at one time. You got to save them one at a time, two at a time, three at a time. And those things make a difference. Can't think that only saving one person don't make a difference. It did, because you never know. That person might go save a person, and the person they save might go save a person, and it's a trickle down effect. So I try to stay away from the organizations that's, we fed 500 women.
I'm not going to work with them.
It's like you fed them, and then what did you do? Because it's 500 women, you only had a $5,000 budget, because you know they're gonna put all this on their website, and to the naked eye it sounds good, but when you actually break the math down, it's like, okay, you had a sponsor that donated 5,000. You know, unless y'all just not giving all the information or whatever the case may be, you fed 5,000. I mean, you fed 500 women, and if I go poll 500 of those women, all they got was a meal.
You know what? I want to ask you a question. I got to ask you a question. This is my take on it. Why would you want to feed someone? Take a picture of them while you're giving them a sandwich. They're already at their lowest. So what are you doing to them? What are you doing to them?
I'm glad you said it and not me, because this is.
Oh, I'm going to say it. I get down raw with it.
Because we've been doing community service all our lives. And, you know, in the beginning, we were big on, but it was for us, it was not because of that. It was because we had sponsors.
Yes, and they need to see what.
We wanted to see it, but what I realized what we were doing wrong was we were posting it to social media.
Exactly.
For the sponsors to see is one thing. For the social media and things of that nature to see is something totally different. So I had to realize what we were doing wrong, and most people don't, you know, realize that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that people don't, like, not everybody, but a lot of people genuinely do it to show, like, because you know, you would notice people would be like, can I get some people? They could post on Facebook, like, can I get some people to help? So you want to genuinely show these people that we did what we were supposed to do. And you also want to show Facebook, like, what I asked for, I actually did.
Exactly.
But there's a way to go about it. You send out a newsletter with one single picture that tells the whole story, you know, things of that nature. So I don't think that everybody does it with ill intentions. I just think that we live in a world of social media, and sometimes we don't know boundaries of what we should. And
exactly.
That's the one thing that's missing in corporate America. You remember back in the day where they had to go through different departments before they push stuff out? Mm-hmm. There was a reason for that.
Exactly.
Because somebody's going to think from every different diagonal. You know what I'm saying? Like, they used to have think tanks and things of that nature. So I was just telling one of my artists that I want to work with that you can't do this by yourself, and you can't do things for you. You gotta meet people where they at. And
you know what, Hope, I'm glad you say that, because when I first started, I was doing everything by myself, because in my mind they wasn't doing it right.
Right.
And if they didn't do it right, I felt that, well, you know what, you're not committed, so why are you doing this? But then you have to think about is that my commitment level might not be the same of a volunteer commitment level. So I had to go through all these things, you know, because I was being more hard on myself than I was with others, because if you told me you was going to show up to help me out, you didn't show up, so you know what, I didn't ask you off. I don't need you anymore, because you showed me if you can't show up to help, then when are you going to show up?
Let me play devil's advocate right
Please do, yes.
Because what I've learned over the years is we say that we know that people are human, but I think sometimes we forget it. Yes. And that was my thing, because coming from Detroit, you know, that's what we taught you. You do everything by yourself.
You move and shake, you
know what I'm saying? So what I had to learn was there's days where I wake up with good intentions and don't make it to every event that I say I'm supposed to make it to. There's days where, you know, I don't have the best attitude today because, you know, whatever, because life is life and we're human. And so what I like to say to people who say that, and like I said, play devil's advocate, is we got to start understanding people. And really, like you said, how you know when a domestic violence victim is really ready to, you got to know when people really meant well. Mm-hmm. and when they just bull driving.
Well, you know what?
You know?
I had to just sit back, and it took me a couple of years because it's 5 years now. We've been doing this. Is that this was my problem, and I can admit that, and I'm so grateful that I acknowledge it now. Is I wanted people to help us. So we were doing this, we were doing that, but that's not what we were supposed to be doing. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I give up, I quit, I can't do this no more. And when I said that is, I got a phone call from a friend in Dallas, and he said, now that you said that, now let God just do everything.
Right.
And I have to apologize to everybody that I was actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, mean to, because I felt that you didn't let me down, you let that lady down.
Right.
You know?
And I get it, but they probably didn't mean to.
I know.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
No, I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I truly
for the people that's
understand.
watching,
I
like,
truly
people need to
understand.
understand that, like, they probably didn't mean to. They probably had, maybe they helped 10 other ladies that week and they just ran out of steam.
They just
that
ran.
week. You get what I'm saying? So
yes, and
we have to just remember that part of it. Like, it's not always ill intention. Sometimes people just get tired.
Yeah,
and
I love corrective criticism because that makes me better. It makes me better because I finally realized I can't do it all by myself because a body has arms, legs, just like
they all get tired.
Yeah, and just like a tree, So now, like I work with a lady from out of Baton Rouge, we call her B. Her name is Alyssa B. Well, she's an educator, so now she has come into the circle where she offer free classes, counseling classes.
Gotcha.
So me and her on this thing, and we're really doing it, and we even started the No More Silence tour, where we go to small cities.
Gotcha.
Where ladies feel that there's no help, men too feel there's no help, and so we bring them help. We find out what they need, we bring it to them, we give them resources, because this is society now in this world. If you don't live in a certain community, drive a certain vehicle, all that social standings, then it's like you push back to the, in the back.
Right.
So that's my target, of helping people that nobody else want to help, because
for sure
I can't go in that community because the type of community is, well, you know what, I'm gonna go back. I want to go back into the community like
and
that.
Let me play devil's advocate again, because like you said, you in your time.
I did, yeah.
You was out there.
I was out there. Yes, I was.
Everybody ain't thugging it, so some people really are scared to go in.
Yeah.
I try to remind people, how this is my best analogy. You know how we go to, listen, do not block me and do not cancel me, because I'm just making an analogy.
Yes.
You know how we go to White Man Land and we be scared? Because, we scared to get profiled. We scared that people gonna look at us crazy. We scared we're gonna get stared at because,
But you know what? I'm not scared.
But listen. But then we get mad when white people come to the hood and clutch their purse. I'm so confused.
Now you know what?
We be scared in their space, and then expect them not to come to our space and be scared. It is natural. We are human.
Yes.
So and I'm saying that to say,
yeah,
those some people really can't go in those communities because they really are scared, and that's not their ministry. You get what I'm saying?
But we don't go
thank
by
God for you, because you can, but everybody ain't. Because listen, my mama took my black card a couple weeks ago. Well, not my black card. She took my Detroit card. She told me I wasn't thugged out enough because one of my mentees, he wanted to stop at the store. It was like 40.
And you like, we're not stopping.
Young man, I'm not going to call them the other word. It was like 40 black young men standing outside.
You're like, I'm not stopping.
It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm on the phone with my mama, and she like, well, why you not stopping? I said, well, it's 40 of them. She said, okay, go straight in the store to come out. You got Morgan? I said, yes, me and Morgan, and 40 of them. I will go to another store. It is okay. And so she took my Detroit card because she said I ain't got no thug in me left. And I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? If we go into a bad area, Hope, we have the Anubis with us.
It's not even a bad area for me. I'm not from Houston.
You from Detroit.
It's unfamiliar. It's the unfamiliar.
That's it, the unfamiliarness of it, yes.
And so I don't know what the dangers are. I don't know what to really look out for. I don't know who really, because, listen, we just moved from Katy to the city because I begged my girlfriend to move to the city. You in
Houston now?
Yes, I'm in Houston now.
You like it?
I have a love-hate relationship, but that's another story for another day. And so, and moving to Houston, when we moved, there's a lot of more young black men around, and so I'm coming out of our abode, and it's a young black man walking, and he looked nervous. I know I probably look nervous. He's walking, but he's walking like kind of towards me in my car, and so like I'm scurrying along. I'm trying to get my look. I got a keyless entry. I'm trying to hurry up, hurry up. You know what I'm saying? And so I get in the car, and he keeps walking or whatever, and I literally thought to myself like, Hope, you just did exactly what the white people do. Like, why would you do that to him?
But you know
But
what?
I was scared though. I was a little nervous.
I had 4 young black men put a 45 to the back of my head in the grocery store parking lot. And I understand what you're saying now, and I'm glad you said that because I never thought about it like that. Is just like they're afraid, we're afraid
For sure.
too.
We all human.
And I used to be, one of my biggest fears was when I'm like, okay, well, somebody, you gonna come to this event with me? Man, I'm not finna go over there. Look how them women dress. And then I finally say, you know what? They know better than me. I'm no better than them.
You gotta get to that point in life because even shout out to the Phenom, he just walked in to do his photo shoot.
Okay.
One of his label head, he asked me a question one day like, "Oh, why you don't want to go to whatever," and it was kind of an uppity thing, and I'm like, "Don't cancel me, Jesus." I said to him, "Because I'm still a nigga." You feel me? And not because I'm hood or but because I'm just not really corporate America. I want to walk in there with my T-shirt, my graphic tee from the clothing line because it's gonna say something inspirational, something.
Exactly.
I'm just a simple person. I don't know how to be uppity for a long period of time.
Well, you know what? I don't look at it as uppity anymore. I look at it as, you know what? I'm just as good as them.
Right. Let's end this on a good note.
Yeah.
Miss Yumeki, say the name of the organization again so I'll mess it up.
Reviving Restoring Pearls, Divine Pearls of Royalty, and Reviving Restoring Pearls Prison Ministry.
Bingo. So, November 25th, come rock with us. 14589 South Main. That's where we're going to be at. It's going to be an indoor-outdoor event. We'll be honoring and featuring Miss Yumeki, and we'll be honoring some ladies with the boxes that we spoke about earlier. It's been a pleasure interviewing you and letting the people know about what's going on in the domestic violence world. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, I'm excited because I love helping.